Dear friends, no Jubilee is complete without recognizing those who have been pillars of support and excellence. To offer words of felicitation, I invite Most Reverend Dr. Lawrence Pius, Bishop of Dharmapuri and Vice Chancellor of St. Peter's Pontifical Institute, Bangalore, to deliver the felicitation address.
Dear Archbishop Francis Callist, the President of this evening's program, Archbishop Peter Machado, other dignitaries on the dais, representatives from various affiliated, aggregated, incorporated institutes, staff of the St. Peter's Institute, dear students, UG, PG, and invitees. At the very outset, I'd like to extend my heartiest congratulations to the President, Father Anthony Lawrence, the Treasurer, Father Sunil D'Souza, for the Registrar, Father Anthony, and all the staff of the Institute, backed up by Father Rector and staff of the seminary, St. Peter's Seminary. My heartiest congratulations to all of you as you have reached this milestone. Let me begin with a little story about a bishop. Once a bishop went to a parish to give confirmation. So all the boys and girls were lined up. And as the bishop got out of his car, one boy was looking at him, keeping on looking at him. Then the bishop had breakfast and went to West and he started the Mass. And after Mass, again that boy waited for the bishop and he was following the bishop. The bishop went to have a cup of coffee. He was standing outside looking at the bishop. Finally the bishop came to his car, opened the door, and the boy came running and peered into the car. Then the bishop got curious. My boy, you have been following me. What are you looking for? The boy said, I'm looking for your trumpet. Trumpet? I'm not a musician. I don't keep a trumpet. No, parish priest told us that whenever you come to the parish, you like to blow your trumpet. I think St. Peter's Institute can blow its trumpet today, loudly, for all its achievements over the long 50 years. As we reflect on the 50-year journey of St. Peter's Pontifical Institute, it is essential to consider the profound impact this institution has had on countless lives. Since its establishment in 1976, this institute has been a beacon of theological and philosophical education in India. It has nurtured generations of priests, religious and lay leaders who have gone forth to serve the church and society with dedication and faith. I had written the history very summarily, but Archbishop Callist did a beautiful job tracing the history. So I skip that and go to Pope Francis' reflections, especially on theology, which is very relevant, I think, as for this institute as it celebrates a great milestone. Like Archbishop Peter said, Pope Francis views theology as light that illuminates and reveals the world. He likens theology to light, which makes things visible without showing itself. Theology works quietly and humbly to bring forth the light of Christ and His gospel. Like Archbishop Callist said, he encourages theologians to remain rooted in friendship with Christ and love for humanity, engaging with both the beauty as well as the suffering of the world. He moreover advocates for an inclusive and interdisciplinary approach to theology, one that embraces the contributions of women and diverse cultural perspectives. Most of you will know that the Pope has appointed a woman religious as prefect of the dicastery for religious just 2 days back. So he's just not talking, he shows us in action. Pope Francis' vision for higher education, theology and philosophy is one of hope, inclusivity and transformation. He challenges us to embrace a holistic approach to education that nurtures mind, heart and soul. Now many people have accused Pope Francis of being too much of a progressive, not rooted, not faithful to tradition. For that he has an answer. He balances tradition and progress. He says, without roots, no progress can be made. Only with the roots do we become people, not museum statues like some cold, starched, rigid traditionalists who are museum pieces. With the thought that providing for life means living attached to its roots. There is a need for this relationship with the roots, but also to move forward. And this is the true tradition, taking from the past to move forward. Tradition is not static. It is dynamic, aiming at moving forward. Just last month, 9th and 10th of December, there was an international conference at Pontifical Latin University, Rome, for theologians. 500 theologians attended this conference from all over the world. And there Pope Francis says, what was the reason for calling the conference? The purpose of the conference was to enable theologians from different cultural backgrounds to share their experiences and reflections with a synodal approach on how to transform the theological legacy of past generations into a creative impetus for the present. The past should give rise to a creative future. There, Pope Francis, while addressing the theologians, he said, as I said earlier, theology is a light that illuminates and reveals the world while remaining invisible. He urged theologians to remain rooted in friendship with Christ and love for humanity. I'm happy that there is a lay woman theologian among us from Belgium. Pope, he has a special place for women, as you know. Speaking in that conference, Pope said, male and female theologians should collaborate. He cited the biblical example of Huldah. I never heard of Huldah till I read in the internet. Definitely Titus and Father Legrand and all others will know who is Huldah. Don't confuse it with Dalda. It's Huldah. Huldah was a prophetess in the Old Testament, the time of King Josiah. And the king and several people always consulted her. She was a resourceful person, Huldah. So the Pope is citing Old Testament figure Huldah. Moreover, interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary approaches are needed as suggested by the Apostolic Constitution Veritatis Gaudium, about which you will hear tomorrow. In other words, theologians should use philosophy, science and arts, integrate them into the theology. Integrative diverse perspective is stressed referencing St. Thomas Aquinas and St. Bonaventure. They are essential to grasp the full meaning of reality. Then, I come towards the conclusion. He said, Pope Francis also said, he was not a sophisticated theologian like Benedict XVI. He is more of a pastor. But he has given unmistakable and direct and indirect messages to all theologians during his 13-year pontificate. Always he has something to say to theologians. I said this last time I gave a talk. Again, I like to underline this point. He told the theologians, do not settle for a desktop theology. Desktop theology. Armchair theology, as we used to say those days. Your place for reflection is the frontier. Do not fall into the temptation to embellish, to add fragrance, to adjust them to some degree and domesticate them. Even good theologians, like good shepherds, are the order of the people and of the street, and by their reflection pour oil and wine onto the wounds of mankind. In passing, may I make a reference to the great theologian, Professor Felix Wilfred, who passed away day before yesterday. He was no armchair theologian. He was a contextual theologian. 2 days back, when I was in Trichy, when his body was brought, a Dalit priest who was in charge of nationally the SC/ST commission for many years, Father Luthuswamy of Vellodai, said, Father Felix Wilfred always said, the future of the Indian church is predominantly the future of the Indian church lies in the future of the Dalit church. He was a grassroots theologian. So theology should be at the frontiers. Now, to conclude, my dear friends, as we celebrate this Golden Jubilee, it is also time to look ahead with hope and renewed commitment. The challenges facing the church and the world today are significant, but the mission of St. Peter's Pontifical Institute remains as vital as ever. As we move forward, let us continue to uphold the values of excellence, faith, and service that have defined this institution in the past. In a world that often seems divided and in turmoil, the teachings on formation provided by St. Peter's Pontifical Institute are more crucial than ever. The graduates of this institution are called to be voices of reason, compassion, and justice, carrying the light of Christ into every corner of society. May God bless St. Peter's Institute for all its service and continue to shower His blessings in the coming days and years. Thank you. God bless you.